to you.
The Detroit City Council is meeting at this hour and could vote today on the latest financial rescue proposal. If an agreement isn't reached by Thursday, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder can impose an emergency manager to run Detroit. James McTevia is a business turnaround specialist, and he joins us from Detroit. So this latest plan, I think it's their third one. Do you think this is the winner?
I don't know. It's politics at work. All you got to do is look at Washington to see how successful politics has been in resolving financial difficulties.
This is a huge problem for the city. They have no way to close this budget gap. They've been wrangling over it forever. The unions have come to the table. They've made what they think are very substantial cuts, but the governor doesn't think they're even close to finding a resolution, that these cuts aren't enough. What do you think is the best way to solve this problem?
Well, look, somebody certainly has got to be in charge. Right now, they've been negotiating over the composition of the Financial Advisory Board. That's been going on now for over a month. Detroit has got a very serious financial problem, and I've been doing this for 50 years, and the only way that you can solve a financial problem is reduce expenses, increase revenue, or a combination of both. Somebody's got to get a hold of the checkbook in Detroit. Somebody has got to freeze all payments on debt, all interest. Only the top, more expenses have got to be paid. You can't make cuts to the police and your fire because they're giving enormous service to the citizens, and somebody has got to restructure the debt. Okay. Detroit is not going to be able to do it.
So where do you start with that? Because when you look at the statistics, you can see, in Detroit that half of all tax dollars that come in go back out to employees. It's such a big problem. How do you start to make those cuts? Like, for example, what unit would you start with? Who would you fire first?
It's not a matter of firing. It's a matter of finding out how much your revenue is. And then you go across the board and you make an across-the-board adjustment in everybody's compensation and all of the bills consistent with your revenue is. That's the way you would do it if you were running a house. Running a city or a government or a federal government is no different than running your budget. You can't spend more money than you take in. It's that simple.
And what about, the other side of the argument would be that you immediately deprive all these people of payment. They've paid into these pensions. They may not get it out over time. That, in effect, you're bankrupting the city down the line because then people have no money to go out and buy goods. What do you say to an argument like that?
The city's already bankrupt. You literally have a bankrupt city here. One of the largest cities in this country is bankrupt. Why should we be surprised? The entire nation is bankrupt. You can't solve a financial problem by borrowing money or kicking the can down the road. And somebody is going to have to stand up and say, we're not going to be paying this money out anymore because we don't have it.
Do you think the governor is the best person to do this? The reason why we're focused so much on this is not because of Detroit in particular, but because this is really an example of what's going on across the country. It's going on in Greece. It's going on around the world. And this is an example for us right here up close. Do you think the governor is the best one to step in and do it, or do you think they should file for bankruptcy? What would be most effective?
I think the first step is to appoint an emergency financial manager that has got turnaround and it has got insolvency experience, who is immediately going to get control of the checkbook and is going to make massive cuts on all expenses across the board. Not just the police, not just the fire, not just the garbage, massive cuts across the board. They're going to have to find out where they are in revenue, and then they're going to have to provide services consistent to the revenue. You can't borrow any more money. My gosh, Detroit can't even pay what it owes now. So borrowing money has never solved a financial problem. You need a specialized turnaround manager, and if he steps in and sees that he can't do it, then quite frankly, the city's going to have to go into bankruptcy. It'll have to go into bankruptcy.
James McTevia,
thanks for coming on and talking about it. We appreciate it. And obviously now you're